You get into bed, tell yourself you'll watch one quick video, and suddenly you realize 2 entire hours have completely vanished. During these sessions, the brain's internal mechanism for tracking duration effectively decouples from physical reality. Because the mind isn't encoding those passing minutes into stable memories, the evidence of how you spent that time is never actually recorded. This happens because of the absolute uncertainty of the next swipe. You have no way of knowing if the upcoming video will be hilarious, shocking, or incredibly boring. That unpredictability triggers the ventral tegmental area to release dopamine. This chemical search happens in response to the anticipation of a reward, driving the nervous system to seek the next hit before the current one has even finished. This is variable ratio reinforcement. It is the same psychological engine that casinos use to keep players glued to a slot machine. Caught in this loop, the nervous system prioritizes tracking potential rewards over a physical clock. After snapping out of a scrolling trance, it's often impossible to recall a single specific video from the dozens you just passed. The brain measures task time by counting the number of sub-events stored in memory, small, structured blocks that form a cohesive narrative of our day. Short-form feeds disrupt this by delivering a fragmented, disjointed stream of clips. A cooking tit followed by a political rant lacks any narrative thread for the brain to latch onto. Because the context shifts so rapidly, the brain fails to build stable event boundaries. The memories crumble before they can be stored. Actively interacting with this content, liking, commenting, and fast switching, only increases this cognitive load, placing an immense tax on the brain's alerting system. This overworks a circuit between the right ventral prefrontal cortex and the posterior cingulate cortex. The result is a brain struggling to balance internal processing with a readiness to respond to the real world. Without these stored event boundaries, the brain has no chronological markers to look back on. In retrospect, a 2-hour block of time feels like 10 minutes. Cognitive researchers have been tracking this digital erosion of our attention for more than 20 years. In 2004, the average duration of human attention on a single screen was about 2.5 minutes. Today, that number has changed. The median attention span on a screen has dropped to just 40 seconds. Think of your mind as having an internal whiteboard. Every time you switch digital contexts, that board must be mentally erased and entirely rewritten. Rapid switching leaves behind attention residue, fragments of previous videos that remain stuck in active processing networks, interfering with your comprehension of the current video. This constant rewriting of the mental whiteboard burns through finite cognitive resources. It's why closing the app often leaves you feeling drained rather than entertained. You feel the physical weight when you put the phone down and try a slow task like reading a textbook. It feels agonizingly difficult. This is dopamine downregulation. To survive frequent, high-amplitude dopamine surges, the brain reduces the sensitivity of its own receptors. When the screen finally turns off, dopamine levels drop significantly below their normal baseline. This chemical crash triggers lethargy, a lack of motivation, and irritability. Analog tasks now feel impossible because the short-form algorithm has been acting as an external processor, capturing your attention with zero required psychological effort. This low-effort, high-stimulation engagement forces the brain to rely almost entirely on lower-order emotional processing centers. This actively suppresses the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for executive control. Over time, these higher-order systems can physically atrophy from disuse. While these platforms can foster social connection, this interactive consumption style extracts a measurable physical sacrifice from our alerting systems. Breaking this loop begins with the realization that a biological system designed for survival has been redirected toward a digital mirage, leaving the reality of physical time behind.